It's another week, isn't it, as a West Ham fan, which typically means is sort of negative news, isn't it? It just feels like the story of this season. Can't really seem to escape it. Um, Basically, I'm referring to an article that's come out in The Athletic in regards to fallings out behind the scenes. Before we get into the video, though, I just want to say if you're new to the channel, do subscribe. It takes 2 seconds to do so. We really appreciate it. And also if you hit that like button as well, because that does help us to gain new audience. And again, we really appreciate you doing that as well. Right. I mean, I'll just, I'll quickly touch on the weekend. Obviously, Tottenham, I did a quick review of that game. I don't want to say review, it was just a kind of quick reaction to it, to be honest with you. I mean, a bit deflated from it. I'm a little bit, to be honest, but it's kind of like my feeling. It's not like a shocking feeling. It's almost like, well, that's inevitable. It just feels like that's kind of how this season is. It's either really bad or the best we're going to get is a bit, okay. We don't seem to have much to be excited about. And I think that was the game for me, that Spurs game. That was the game leading into the final three. If we can beat Spurs, which, let's be honest, we should have bloody beaten Spurs. If we'd have shown more about ourselves, I think we would have beaten them and shown more intent. But I really want to make it very clear as well. I'm not calling out Graham Potter in this. I feel like some people suggest that I don't support Potter and I'll keep giving him a kick every now and again. I really feel for Graham Potter. I think he's inherited an absolute mess at West Ham. I don't think there's a lot of it to do with him, and I do think we've improved. I know that we're losing. The results don't show that. I know that I think he's on something like an 18% win ratio percentage at the moment. It's absolutely horrendous. Let's be honest. But that being said, I still look at West Ham and think I think we look like more like a solid team at the moment. But yeah, the results just aren't there, are they? And I'm disappointed with the Spurs because I felt that was a game we should have won and we could have won, and I just felt that it was an opportunity missed. That's all. But I don't want to keep moaning about it. I don't want to keep dwelling on it. I'm like many now. I'm just longing for the end of this season. I really am very drained and tired, and just can't wait to see the back of it. I really hope there's a few more. Well, we've got 3 more games to go. It'd be nice at least to have a 1 or 2 decent performances before the end of the season, wouldn't it? Just to give us a lift, give us something to enjoy. It just feels like we've been absolutely void of any real enjoyment this season, and hopefully that can change. When Lopetegui was here, I mean, I was a massive critic of Lopetegui. I still am. I think he's absolutely. It was awful. I think it was a dreadful appointment. One of the things that we noticed that was kind of reported about quite a lot was the fallings out behind the scenes. And my understanding of that was, this is how I took it, was that they just didn't like Lopetegui. They couldn't stand his training, found it to be confusing, found it boring, found him hard to understand. He apparently regularly would change his mind on tactics right before the game, so they'd be practicing a way of playing all week and be training towards a game with a mindset of how they were going to set up and what we're going to do. And then literally at 11th hour, he'd go, actually, no, I'm going to change the tactics and change the formation. And it just really confused players. There was also mixed messaging between the players, and in terms of he made James Ward-Prowse vice captain, announced it to the team, and about a week later, he was then shipped out to Nottingham Forest. The players were left really confused. So look, when it was reported that there was fallings outs behind the scenes and fights with Lopetegui, Kudus and Alvarez and all this kind of stuff we'd heard. Was it Alvarez? Yeah, I think it was. Oh, whatever. Tadibo and so many, wasn't it? Just so many. Is it me, right? Or does this season feel like it's been going on for about 2 or 3 years? It's almost like, I'm like, God, do you remember that first game of the season we lost to Aston Villa? I mean, that was in August. We're only in May, and that feels like about 2 years ago. It's just so tiring. It's like the season feels like it's been going on forever. Sorry, I had to say that, but God, because I was thinking back at the beginning, I thought, God, that was only the beginning of this season. Anyway, there was fights, wasn't there, behind the scenes, and all these issues we kept hearing about. So my understanding of that was it's Lopetegui. He is absolutely infuriated the squad. They can't stand him. They're all falling out over it, and that was the issue. So I was very pleased when he was sacked. And I was very, very pleased when we got in Graham Potter. I know, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he was my number one choice. He's the only manager. Of course not. But I felt that it would be an upgrade. And I know people are going to slate me because I still feel that is the case. I know, as I said, I'll keep saying this. I know results don't reflect that, but I do feel there's more of a longer term view of West Ham. Do you know what I mean? You look at West Ham now, you think you can feel that there are some foundations being built here a little bit in this team. But I don't want to talk about it too much. So I'm just going to get slated. But that's my feeling of it. All right. Now we've got reports from The Athletic that are saying that there's been fights behind the scenes under Graham Potter's watch, We've already heard of falling outs between the Potter and a couple of players. He's not very happy with certain players and stuff like that. So it actually leans you to go, well, maybe it wasn't all Lopetegui. Maybe it wasn't just him. Maybe it is a squad issue. Also, it may be sort of confirms as to why Potter and co are very keen to have a full squad overhaul, not just because of the results and the ability, but actually because there's an issue at this squad. There's a real problem there. I think there really is. I think there's some real problems at West Ham. There are so many problems at West Ham, isn't there? That it's almost like, how long have you got? From the stadium to the training ground to the owners to, I mean, the finances, the everything. It just seems like it's problems. Everywhere you look at West Ham, there's a real problem. Training ground, you know, everything. It just goes on and on and on. It really does. The only thing I think actually is looking pretty good at the moment is our academy. That's the only part of the club that I go, I'm quite proud of the academy. I'm quite excited by what we're seeing. Women's team seems to be doing all right. Funny enough, actually, maybe just go off tangent here. I remember last season there was a lot of calls, and this obviously wasn't as big because it's the women's team, no disrespect, but obviously it's not as big as the men's first team, of course. And in terms of its sort of popularity and intensity under the media spotlight and that sort of stuff. And then you've got Rhiannon Skinner, who came in, I think she was manager of Tottenham, she took over at West Ham. And the West Ham results are terrible. They were really bad to begin with. And I know that there was a lot of concern, sort of the people that were very much following the women's game, saying that, she's doing, not impressed, want to get rid. But the club stuck by her, and they felt that there was something that she was building. And obviously this season she's been great. So I do hope that's a little bit of an omen for West Ham in terms of our first team senior squad for the men, so that we do stick with Potter, and we will get that that will come to fruition, that things will work. That's my hope. I think we've got to have that kind of hope because Potter's not going anywhere anytime soon. Let's be honest, they're not going to sack him now. That he's going to have the summer, and he will obviously have I would say the first half of next season to show what he can do. But my word, he's going to be under pressure. But I really do hope we see a turning point, and I'm still holding out hope for that. I really am, and I still am. I'm not saying it purely on the basis of blind faith. I do feel like I'm seeing things that go, okay, it's not that bad. We're not playing that badly. It's just the results aren't quite there, and I hope that does change. But in terms of the issues we're hearing behind the scenes, this is something that needs addressing. It really is. I don't think it's a bad thing though that I just want to make this is my point on this article, all right? So this isn't news. I want to talk about anything groundbreaking. I'm just my view on it. I don't think it's a bad thing that these players are calling each other out. In fact, I think that's a healthy thing. I think it's good that they're challenging. We don't want players at the back after games patting each other on the back, going, "Oh, brilliant!" You know what I mean? 1-1 with Tottenham. That was a fantastic result. Well, it wasn't really. At the end of the day, on paper, usually Tottenham or draw, you go, "All right, that's not bad." But no, I mean, on the context, it was a bad result. And the fact is, we haven't won now, in 8 games? I mean, it's shocking. It's terrible run of form. So I'm glad that there's anger behind the scenes. But what it does also confirm to me is that there are so many issues in that squad. And no wonder Potter wants a big overhaul and to get rid of a lot of players. We're hearing that there's talking about 12 players going. 12 players. I mean, that's massive. Absolutely massive. But I don't think it's all that bad as well, hearing this, as I say. I don't think it's a terrible, terrible thing that players are falling out and having words with each other. I think it's about time. And to be honest with you, like, a lot of them are going anyway. I'm get on with it. Do you know what I mean? I'm hoping we're going to start seeing Potter's getting a real good feeling of who he wants out of this club. And the fact is, we've got players that clearly are bad eggs. It's kind of reflective in our performance, isn't it? You can see it. Players aren't very happy. Things aren't very good. And I feel like that's what that's coming from. And my last point I want to touch on that article, though, before I wrap this up, is the fact that this is leaking. Now, I don't like that. I don't like the fact that we're getting all this stuff coming out, because this stuff is normal, by the way, in football. Let's be honest. It's standard stuff. Get in most workplace, people fall out. It's kind of what happens, isn't it? Especially in high intensity, highly competitive sport, you expect there to be fierce arguments and come on, raise your bloody game. These players want to win, and I want these players to want to do well. I want these players to want West Ham to do well. But I don't like the fact it's leaking out, and I think that's another thing West Ham need to address. We've had an update from ex-WHU employee, so we've got some update on the transfers. So there is a fair few bits that we are going to be talking about. I'm going to do them tomorrow and throughout the week. It's only just literally come out, so I want to sort of digest it. But there's a few players, and specifically in the Danish league. But I'm going to do another video on that. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I felt like it was a subject I need to talk about because it's doing its rounds. This dressing room falling out stuff, and as I say, I think there's two sides to it. Part of me, yeah, I'm not happy about it. I don't like to hear that we've got falling out. Obviously, I'd rather it be a happy camp. But the fact is where we are. So what? If the players are going to let each other know how angry they are, then maybe that's not such a bad thing. But look, I hope you're having a good one. Let's try and have a good week and 3 more games to go. Oh my God. Let's just bleed and get there. Come on, you irons.